Don't forget about good composition. That sounds obvious, but it's not. A lot of folks come out and they photograph the aurora for the first time, and maybe we get a nice corona, which is an aurora that rains down on us from directly overhead. And when it happens, a lot of people tend to just point their cameras straight up and they take pictures of that corona. And it's beautiful colors in the sky, but quite honestly, it's a bit boring because there's not anything to anchor that shot and give us a sense of perspective. Think of your aurora photography as landscape photography with sky and aurora in it, rather than just aurora photography, and you'll get much better shots. And just like with landscape photography, generally not a good idea to put your horizon line right across the middle of the frame. You typically want this on 1/3 or the other third. And speaking of, use the rule of thirds in your compositions. Most modern cameras have a rule of thirds guides either through the EVF or on the back display, so use that to your advantage and make sure that you're setting up your composition using that rule of thirds. Another compositional tool I like to use and actually prefer over the rule of thirds is the golden ratio. And that's because in nature, the golden ratio appears repeated throughout everything we see in nature. It's very prevalent. And so by composing with the golden ratio in nature photos, I personally feel that it gives a more natural look and a more pleasing look. So you can use that as well. It's close to the rule of thirds, but it's a little bit off. That one there isn't a guide for typically in most cameras, and so what you want to do is kind of use maybe Lightroom with a golden ratio overlay and kind of crop your photos and adjust and play with it and kind of get that stuck in your head so that when you're out shooting, you see that composition naturally. Also, place your main dominant subjects on those intersecting lines where the rule of thirds kind of cross over each other. That's always a great idea. And then finally, don't forget that you can turn that camera and shoot vertical. And in fact, a lot of times with the Aurora, you should. What I like to do is let the Aurora dictate that for me. If it's kind of low and going across the horizon, then I tend to shoot horizontal. If it's going up overhead and I can make a better composition with more Aurora, I'll turn the camera and then I can get a little bit of the foreground in the bottom and still feature the Aurora very prominent, just like this.